Something's brewing behind the scenes, and it could explode right on the night of the NFL draft. There's a growing buzz about a young quarterback possibly being traded, and the story goes much deeper than just roster moves or cap space. It starts with a team holding the 12th overall pick in the upcoming 2025 NFL Draft, an asset powerful enough to reshape the franchise's direction or trigger a league-shaking trade. And right now, there's serious consideration being given to using that pick as leverage, especially if the right quarterback prospect falls into place. But it's not just about picking a player. There's a bigger plan unfolding. The idea isn't necessarily to draft a rookie quarterback and throw him into the fire immediately. Instead, it's about bringing in a young signal caller who can sit, learn, and develop under the wing of a more experienced player already in the building. This approach isn't new, but what makes it particularly interesting this time is the influence of a new minority owner in the organization. With fresh perspectives and a long-term vision, this owner is reportedly intrigued by the idea of cultivating a franchise quarterback the right way, through patience, mentorship, and strong infrastructure. Now, here's where it gets even more intriguing. The quarterback currently on the roster. After 2 seasons, he's logged 20 games, started 17, tossed 20 touchdowns against 11 interceptions, and holds a starting record of 7 wins and 10 losses. Not awful, but not exactly lighting the league on fire either. He's shown flashes, sure, but he's also struggled with consistency, decision-making, and adapting to the speed of the NFL. And those ups and downs? They've created real debate around his value. Some believe he deserves more time. Others see a player who's reached his ceiling. And then there are those who say he's worth no more than a 5th-round pick in return. That's where the trade rumors start heating up. Let's break down the possibilities, beginning with the first round of the draft. Now, could a deal for this quarterback go down on night 1? It's unlikely, but not impossible. If a team were to jump up the board, especially to a slot like 12, it's almost always to secure a top quarterback. Maybe they missed out on their guy. Maybe their backup plan just got picked. Either way, desperation can spark action. That's where the New Orleans Saints come into the picture. If their starting quarterback ends up sidelined for the season, something that's very much on the table, they might be in the market. The rumor is that New Orleans could offer a 4th-round pick to acquire this young quarterback, betting on him to either compete or sit as insurance. Now, why would New Orleans make this move during round 1 instead of waiting? Well, last year saw quarterbacks flying off the board early. If that trend continues, and if their draft board suddenly gets wiped of the prospects they value, they might panic. They might decide their best option is to go after someone already in the league. Someone who, while flawed, has real game experience and could be molded into a serviceable starter. That's what makes the first-round window so fascinating. The stakes are high, emotions are higher, and all it takes is one unexpected pick to throw off a team's entire strategy. In that chaos, a trade like this could sneak through. But the more realistic window, that's day 2. Rounds 2 and 3. That's where things get a little more calculated. That's when general managers start thinking about value. Trading up, trading down, and targeting specific players who can fill gaps. One proposal that's been floated involves Tampa Bay. In this scenario, Tampa sends the 84th overall pick, a 3rd-rounder, in exchange for the quarterback and 108th pick, a 4th-rounder. Now, on the surface, that might seem like an odd deal. Why would Tampa give up a higher pick just to move up a few spots and take on a quarterback? Well, here's the logic. If this quarterback is worth a 5th-round pick, as many believe, then jumping from the 4th to the 3rd round costs roughly a 5th. From Tampa Bay's point of view, they're essentially paying fair market value while addressing a very real need, a backup quarterback. And if they like this player enough to rate him as a 4th-round talent rather than a 5th, it makes even more sense. It's also worth noting that Tampa Bay has close ties to this quarterback's current team. There are former players and front office members who maintain strong connections across both organizations, which could grease the wheels for a deal. From the Raiders' perspective, a move like this is about capitalizing on value. If they spot a prospect slipping into the late 3rd round, someone they graded as a top 100 player, they might feel it's worth packaging a 4th and their current quarterback to get back into that tier. They've reportedly shown interest in the top 120 players, so if one of their favorites is still on the board, it's the perfect excuse to get aggressive. And in that scenario, Tampa Bay makes a perfect trade partner, a team that's looking for depth at quarterback and willing to maneuver to make it happen. Now let's go even deeper into the draft, day 3. That's when things get wild. Teams start calling each other nonstop, trying to flip 6 for 7s, future picks for depth players, anything to squeeze value out of the final rounds. And that's where the Pittsburgh Steelers enter the chat. Picture this. Pittsburgh sends the 156th pick, a 5th-rounder, to the Raiders in exchange for this quarterback. No extra picks involved. Just a clean swap. Simple, but surprisingly logical. Why would Pittsburgh do this? For starters, they've been circling the quarterback market all offseason. There's a carousel of rumors connecting them to veteran names, and it's clear they aren't fully sold on their current depth chart. With the 21st overall pick, they might miss out on the top passers, and by the time round 3 ends, it's very possible that every option they liked is already gone. If that happens, the Steelers might panic, or at least get creative. This quarterback, though far from perfect, offers a better track record than several current backups around the league. He has experience, he's cheap, and he wouldn't arrive with starter expectations. Just someone to push the room and see what happens in camp. And while we're talking about future planning, another possibility is New England. They reportedly aren't interested at the moment, but let's say things change. Maybe the Patriots want a developmental quarterback. Maybe they want competition behind their backup. If so, they might consider offering a 6th-round pick. But here's the twist. Not in this year's draft, in 2026. That's right. A future 6th for a quarterback who could immediately be QB2 or 3 on their depth chart. It's not a flashy deal, but it's the kind of quiet trade that smart front offices make while everyone else is focused on the big names. And why would the Raiders take that deal? Because they're playing the long game. They already have multiple compensatory picks lined up for the next 2 drafts. Adding another 6th to the mix might not sound exciting, but it's one more dart to throw in 2026. A year where they could be targeting serious upgrades and maybe even looking to contend. If they believe their current quarterback room is stable, or that their draft board includes a late-round gem, they might be willing to part ways now to set up future flexibility. So with all of that said, the question becomes, which of these trade scenarios makes the most sense? Is it the Saints with a mid-draft move out of necessity? The Buccaneers looking to secure depth and familiarity? The Steelers rolling the dice late on day 3? Or even the Patriots, thinking ahead with a future pick in hand? Let's just say one thing. If any of these trades go down during the draft, the energy will be electric. Fans will debate it instantly. Analysts will break down every angle. And for one quarterback trying to find his place in the league, it could be the fresh start he's been waiting for. But let's not pretend that a fresh start is guaranteed to solve everything. For this quarterback, any move, whether to New Orleans, Tampa, Pittsburgh, or New England, comes with risk. He's no longer a rookie with a clean slate or a high draft pedigree to fall back on. He's a quarterback with tape, with tendencies, with strengths that flash under pressure and flaws that show up just as clearly. And in a league that's always chasing the next big thing, that kind of player walks a fine line. One more failed stint, and suddenly he's not a developmental project anymore. He's just another guy bouncing from camp to camp, hoping for a clipboard role. Still, you can't ignore the context. This isn't a case of a complete bust. His numbers don't scream elite, but they don't scream disaster either. He's been competent. He's had stretches where he played clean football, showed poise, and made throws that few backups in the league can consistently make. What's missing is the ceiling, the sense that he can elevate a team, take over a game, or rescue a season. And in today's NFL, that's often the difference between a quarterback sticking around or fading away. There's also the matter of system fit. In his current offense, the scheme has evolved rapidly and not necessarily in his favor. He's been asked to play within a structure that leans heavily on timing, rhythm, and quick decision-making, traits that haven't always been his strengths. A new environment, especially one with a more vertical approach or a more stable offensive line, could unlock something. It's not just about the playbook. It's about giving a young quarterback a chance to breathe, to reset, to learn without the weight of a franchise on his shoulders. Then there's the locker room piece. Internally, sources have hinted that he's well-liked. A worker, a guy who shows up early, asks questions, and doesn't create drama. That matters, especially for a team looking to add depth without disrupting chemistry. Coaches notice when a player embraces the backup role, supports the starter, and stays ready. If nothing else, he brings value there, a player who knows what it means to prepare like a starter, even if he's not getting the reps. But maybe the most interesting part of this entire situation is how it reflects where the league is going. More than ever, teams are treating quarterbacks like assets on a sliding scale. You're either the guy or you're not. And if you're not, your value gets defined by what someone else sees in you. That's why we've seen so many mid-round quarterbacks change teams in the last few years. The days of holding on to a young passer just to see if he develops are fading. Patience is limited. Windows are shrinking. And the draft accelerates everything. If this quarterback is moved during the draft, it's not just about what pick he's worth. It's about what narrative takes hold afterward. Was he mismanaged? Was he overdrafted? Or was he simply not the right fit in the wrong place? The answer might lie in how he responds to his next opportunity. Because if he lands in a situation where he can sit, study, and grow without pressure, he might surprise people. That's often how it goes with these traits. Everyone rushes to judge the deal, but the real verdict takes a year or two. And don't discount the influence of ownership in all of this. Remember, the presence of a new minority owner isn't just a footnote. It's a variable that could change everything. Someone who sees the long game, who understands that developing quarterbacks isn't just about arm talent or scheme fit. It's about patience, vision, and creating the right environment. If that owner is behind the idea of moving on from this quarterback and starting over with a new prospect, the current GM might not have a choice. It becomes part of the larger rebuild, the identity shift, the future blueprint. So now, all eyes turn to draft night. Every pick, every trade, every phone call, it all builds toward a moment. And for this quarterback, it might be the most important moment of his career. He won't be in the green room. He won't hear his name called on national TV. But behind the scenes, his future could be rewritten. A new city, a new system, a new shot at proving he belongs. And maybe, just maybe, that's all he needs. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. As the NFL offseason continues to stir up excitement, the possibility of Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and Christian McCaffrey joining the Las Vegas Raiders has the football world buzzing. If these three superstars were to land in Sin City, it would be a seismic shift not only for the Raiders, but also for the entire AFC. Hill's blazing speed, Jefferson's hands that defy physics, and McCaffrey's dual-threat ability could create an offensive juggernaut that few defenses would be able to stop. The intrigue is undeniable, and if this dream trio becomes reality, the Raiders' chances of returning to the postseason, and maybe even reaching the Super Bowl, would rise dramatically. Tyreek Hill, the NFL's most electrifying receiver, known for his game-changing speed and his ability to stretch defenses, would undoubtedly bring an element of danger that the Raiders' offense has been missing in recent years. Whether it's running past defenders or making spectacular catches on third down, Hill has proven time and time again that he can single-handedly alter the course of a game. His performance in 2023, where he led the league in receiving yards with 1,799 and earned his 7th Pro Bowl selection, was nothing short of stellar. Having him line up in silver and black would instantly elevate Las Vegas receiving corps to one of the league's most potent threats. Equally as captivating is the idea of pairing Justin Jefferson with Hill. After all, Jefferson, coming off a dominant 2024 season where he amassed 1,533 yards and 10 touchdowns, is one of the league's top young talents, already holding numerous NFL records, including the most receiving yards through a player's first 5 seasons. Jefferson has cemented his place among the elite. His ability to make plays in every aspect of the game, whether it's catching deep bombs or making crucial catches on third downs, would provide a perfect complement to Hill's speed. Together, they could form one of the most unstoppable wide receiver duos in NFL history. And then there's Christian McCaffrey, whose all-purpose ability would add yet another layer of complexity to the Raiders' offense. Known for his ability to both rush and catch passes out of the backfield, McCaffrey is a nightmare for defenses. Despite a season marred by injury, McCaffrey remains one of the most dynamic playmakers in the league. The former Offensive Player of the Year and leader of the 49ers' offense in 2023, McCaffrey would bring balance to the Raiders' attack, enabling them to control the clock and keep opposing defenses on their toes. His elite vision, agility, and hands would mesh perfectly with the explosive styles of Hill and Jefferson, making the Raiders' offense an instant contender. The potential arrival of these three players would undoubtedly change the trajectory of the Raiders' future. The combination of Hill's deep threat speed, Jefferson's ability to dominate in any situation, and McCaffrey's versatility would create an offensive juggernaut that could challenge any defense in the NFL. With a revamped roster and the prospect of finally building a championship-contending team around a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, the Raiders could quickly become one of the most exciting teams in the league. But until the ink dries on the contracts, it's all still a dream. One thing is for sure, if Hill, Jefferson, and McCaffrey do join the Raiders, the NFL will be watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.